my name is Anna and welcome to my channel Some Books and Sarcasm. First I'm gonna go through my statistics from 2020 and then I'm gonna go through some of my reading goals for 2021. So in total I have read 121 books, which I think was pretty decent. But I do feel like I did read a bit of whatever this year and I'm not super happy with my reading. We will go through and you will see. First up we have which country I have read books from this year. And as you can see, like the overwhelmingly majority is the US. And then we have the UK. So this is what happens when I'm not trying to be more cautious with what I'm reading and I'm just like, oh, let me read whatever. Then it became super English centric with US and UK. I have not done so many other countries this year either. We have Sweden, which a few of, which isn't so weird since Swedish. We have few Italy, Finland, Australia, Germany, Nigeria, Ireland, Estonia, New Zealand and France. So I'm not super happy with these stats, but I expect it because like some years I actually try to consciously like read a bit of the world, but this year I haven't, and then it looks like this. So we need to be more cautious about that next year. And we have men versus women versus both, which is women, like over 75% women. Not super surprising since I read so much romance, which is very typically female dominated genre. So, but I also, even because of that, I've read a lot of women this year. Usually it is a bit more even than this, but I like apparently books by women lately. I've been like that for the last 2 years. Like a few years ago I read more men than women, like every year, but not anymore. Then we have YA / middle grade / children's books or adult, and a very overwhelmingly majority, like 80%, is adult, which seems about right. I read most adult stories. I pick up YA or children sometimes. It's like when I want something very easy to read, but adults are my main kind of age group, nothing surprising. Then we have old authors versus new to me authors, and I keep around old authors around 30% like every year for the past like 5 years. Like not like choice really, it just kind of have ended up like that, like every year. It's around 40 to 30 is old authors, and I kind of like keeping it that way. I'm pretty happy with that actually, because I like trying out new stuff, but I also want to try to go back and read some old favorites, so I'm pretty happy with that stat. And then we have the dreadful genre. Like I said, of my 121 reads, 46 books are romance. Yeah, it's been a hard year this year, okay? And then I pick up romance because it's easy for me to read. I don't have to think so much, I can just enjoy the story. Do not want it to be this year like that though. This year I'm gonna not read like 50 romance books. Then we have a clamped up YA with like 16 books. That is okay. It's like a bit of everything. I know the YA isn't a genre, but it's like 16 books. Like, I felt like I don't want to do YA 1 contemporary. Like, it felt like, you know, YA. It has, I clamp it up here. I don't read so much YA, so it's clamped up. It's okay. And then we have 14 fiction. Like, this one is a bit of garbage genre for me, because like it feels like everything, I'm not sure what it else could be, is end up in fiction. I know it's a bit how it works, but it's a bit boring because of like doesn't really say what it is, but so 14 I don't really know what it really is. Just random books. And then we have 8 thrillers. I'm actually surprised by that one. I didn't think I read that much thrillers this year. I need to read more, because I have a lot of thrillers that I'm like, especially my like Nordic noir thrillers. Like, they're everywhere. I don't really feel sad about letting them go. So if I read them, I can get rid of them and I'll hold them and not have a million books laying around the house. More like laying around the room. Because we live in a very small apartment with a lot of books. My boyfriend would appreciate it very much. And we have non-fiction 5. Not too happy with that one. I have set a higher goal for this year and tried to read more of it. But it's been a stressful year. I was planning to read for non-fiction November, and then like I have way too much to do to actually care about reading non-fiction right now. Then some modern classics 6 and classics 5. I am really surprised it's that low, but when I look back I realize I haven't really tried to pick up classics. I usually read a lot more classics. So that one I'm kind of very disappointed in me about. Like, I should pick up more. Because I like classics. I don't just read it because I have to. I usually like them. Even if, unless I just bunch it up. Because it's easier to keep stats then. You have to make some compromises. And then we have one poetry book, which I put very highly on my best book of the year list. So that was fun. I am actually thinking that I will try to pick up some more poetry books actually this year. So that's fun. And then we have, I know this isn't really a genre so much in English, but it's a very popular genre in Sweden, which is feel good, which is like, it's not quite romance, it's not quite chick lit, it's something in between, which is cozy. And I like those. Those are also in my kind of, I don't have to think, I just have to enjoy kind of genre. So that's why I have read some of those too. It's like Together with Romance. There's a lot of books. It's like 60. It's like 65 almost. Yes. Like, they're good books, but I don't want to read, like, when I die, I don't want to have read only romance and feel good. That's not how I want my reading to be. And yes, I do plan for how when I'm dying. How once you're supposed to live. And then we have for middle grade, not a big genre. One dystopian. That's sad. I like dystopian. That we need to fix. One chick lit, 5 historical fiction, and 1 children. Like this, I need to fix until 2021, most definitely. I felt like I read 121 books, but I read a lot of, for me, lazy books that I just can read very quickly and don't need to think a lot about and just enjoy myself. And there's a time for everything, but I felt like over a third of my reading I don't want to have in that categories. I want to read more other books too. So let's try to fix that in 2021. So I set some new goals for myself. No, wait. And I had some goals. I had like a list of 71 books I wanted to read, like specifics, and I read like 41 of them, which is pretty good for me because I usually don't follow my own kind of specific reading lists. I think that is the best I have done with those. So that was pretty good. So that's pretty okay. And I tried to do Pop Sugar 2020. I failed. I did kind of a lot of them. I did at least more than half of them, but I failed kind of there too. So let's take a look on my 2021. It is much more exciting to look at my sort of failed 2020 reading. So 2021, I'm planning to read 150 books. I want to challenge myself and read a lot this year. So, and then my reading journal, this is 150 books. And hopefully I can do that. I think I will. I have always exceeded my numbers goals every year with kind of a lot. So I think that's gonna be not a problem. And then my plan is to finish my old reading lists. So basically I have lists from 2016, 2019, 2020 with books that's like, oh, I must read these books this year, but I've never finished them. So I thought, instead of making a new one for this year, I'm gonna finish my old reading lists. And there's some mixo, some books are on several lists. So at the end of the day, I had 61 books. But on my old reading list, I have not finished. Which isn't so weird, because 2016 I was over ambitious and I'm gonna read 5 Charles Dickens novels, including Bleak House and David Copperfield's 800 to 1000 pages books. And I've never read a Dickens before. And the year before I read 30 books, and I'm gonna make a list of 60 books, and that's all I'm gonna read for this year. 2016 and I was very delusional. But we will see if we can finish all of those books this year instead. Not impossible, but it's gonna be a challenge, I would say. Some books are a bit easier, but a lot of heavier books on these lists. So we will see how it goes. But I will do my best to try to do this. I even borrowed some from the library to try to get to them. One, I realized that I would have to buy either super expensive, second-hand market for 260 crowns, or borrow from the library. I definitely borrowed from the library. And then we have my more specific reading goals. And then I want to read 15 classics and 15 modern classics. It's a bit little, but I feel like I read 5 and 6 last year, so let's try to bump it up to 15 in both categories. It shouldn't be too hard. I have a lot of classics I want to read. And then we also have 5 big fantasy books. This one might be slightly delusional, but I want to try to finish Name of the Wind, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, which I realized my copy, I have a Swedish copy, and I looked and I thought oh, it's just 700 pages, it's just not that big. And then I looked at it and the text is so small. That's gonna take forever to read too. And then I think maybe Lies of Locke and Mistborn, something more. Highly delusional of me to try to read all of those, but I will try. I think they're gonna be good. I feel like Jonathan Strange is gonna be the hardest because of the tiny text. So tiny. I also tried to read more Swedish classics, which I fail on every year. Ever. And I'm tired of that, and I said 5 at least. And that one I've put a very high priority on because I don't know why I resist reading them. But they were on several, those are really coming after me, every reading list. And my boyfriend, he's a Swedish teacher, and he's you've read a million other classics, but English and not classics, but you can't read the Swedish ones? No, apparently not, because I'm garbage. And then we also have reading all of at least 30 books that have under 5,000 ratings on Goodreads. And I cannot just pick Swedish books for this. Swedish books does not count. Almost all of them, even if they're very popular, has under 5,000 ratings. So I cannot just read Swedish. I cannot read my Harley Quinn historical romance that have 10 ratings either. have to try to find some other stuff that is low ratings, because I want to try to branch out a bit and try to find, you know, some golden books that is not so popular. It's kind of a goal with this one, because like I've looked at my like 5-star reads, they're all like kind of popular books, and I felt like you need to branch out more and try to see what else is out there. So that is counting for that. Like you see, I have a lot of small goals. We'll see if this goes. I just want to end 5 series, also a bit delusional. We will see, because I need to buy a few books. And we will see, because we have a problem with Book Depository right now, because they didn't deliver to Sweden right now because of Brexit. And otherwise they are super expensive. Not super, but they're like $2 to $5 more. That's pretty much if you're gonna buy a couple of books. But so we will see, but hopefully I will end the 5 books series this year. I also have a goal that I should only have a net positive of 20 new books this year. Also highly delusional. I actually counted my net positive from 2020, which turned out to be 120 books. I cannot keep buying 120 plus books every year. Like, in a couple of years I'm gonna have more books than space. Like, I know it myself. So I am gonna try to take a harsh stand this year and try to either have to read more books I can unhaul or buy less. I am already feeling kind of harshly on that buying less part. This is a stack of books I bought this January, plus 3 more that hasn't come yet because of shipping. Like I said, I'm highly delusional. Then I have 2 goals for like trying to diversify my reading. But these goals are more like guidelines. Like at the end of the day, it's not like I want to be like, oh, I read this many books of PSC authors. Done, check mark, now I don't have to read more of this year. It's more like trying to hold myself accountable and try to continuously pick up a bit more diverse reading throughout the year, because it's also like, when I look back on my reading when I'm older, I want to have read a bit of everything. So I have a lot of books I want to read that do classify as diverse, so I just have to pick them up. So it's more like holding myself a bit extra accountable and not like super set. Like I have some like number goals, but like I said, just like shaking myself, not setting stuff. Also 15 non-fiction. I want to read more non-fiction, so good to have a goal for that. I also want to finish Pop Sugar 2021 since I failed in 2020. I feel like I could do that, but I need to make it more of a priority and not just wait until like the last couple of months and then I don't want to read the books I need to read for it. Just start reading them in January. Much easier than starting in like December and trying to knock so many off. Been there, done that. I also have allowed my boyfriend to pick out 5 books for me, so Christian's choice. He can make me read any book he wants. I will probably regret that goal. I also have 5 movie adaptations, because he's a movie fantast. He likes movies. There's a lot of movies we can't watch together because there's a book and I want to read the book first. So I promised her to make it priority to let him choose some books I have to read so we can watch the movies. See, I'm a good girlfriend. Sorta. And then we have 5 classical sci-fi. I'm really interested in them, but I don't know why I never make them a priority. So I want to knock off some of those on my list. And then also 30 countries. I don't want at the end of next year to be like everything is USA and UK. I want to try to read more across the world. I usually do that much better when if I keep myself accountable. I usually do pretty well on that. So let's try. And then my two last ones. I want to finish all of Edgar Allan Poe's poems this year. I already started it last year, and I want to finish them all. And then I want to read 10 short stories from him. Cause it's a bit hard for me, I feel like, because I like them, but it's hard because I don't have really a book so I can just knock it out all at once, and I don't really feel like I want to do it either. So I'm trying to be okay, but just read one short story a week or something. Try to read them through, because I do enjoy them, but I need to make it a priority because I want to read through all of his works. But I said that for a couple of years now, and it's first last year actually started to do it. So that was all of my goals for 2021, and if I do this, I would say I would probably be very happy with my reading year. Okay, it doesn't say in romance goals. If I do this once and I do not have a third romance next year, I will be happy. So hopefully we will see if I finish them. We'll see if I make videos in a year or not. That's gonna be most interesting. Okay, see ya.